Hello everyone, I am Dr. Munish Kumar Bharadwaj from School of Engineering and Technology of IGNOU. Today we will be discussing about admixtures, and discussion on admixtures will be completed in 3 lectures, and in these 3 lectures we will be discussing the following things. First of all, we will discuss what are admixtures, then role of admixtures in making good concrete with high strength and high performance, then classification of admixtures, then we will discuss factors affecting performance of admixtures, and also we will discuss doses and extent of effect of admixtures on properties of fresh and hardened concrete. So let us begin with admixtures. What are admixtures? Admixtures are the chemicals which are used in addition to the basic ingredients of concrete. And what are these basic ingredients of concrete? You know, cement, water, fine aggregate and coarse aggregate. So the chemicals which are added in addition to these basic ingredients of concrete are the admixtures. These admixtures are added to the concrete mix either immediately before or during the mixing of ingredients with the aim to modify or alter one or more of the specific properties of fresh and hardened concrete. They are meant to alter the properties of the concrete. Use of admixtures should bring about the changes which otherwise would not have been possible economically by changing or adjusting the proportions of cement, fine aggregates and coarse aggregate. This gives the importance that why we should add the admixtures in the concrete. That when it is not possible to change or adjust the properties of concrete by changing or adjusting the proportions of the different ingredients of the concrete, then we need to add the admixtures. It may be remembered that admixtures are no substitute for good concrete practice. It is very important point basically that if you want to make the concrete strong or change the properties of concrete by simply adding admixtures and you are not following the good practices in concreting, then it is of no use. Means admixtures are no substitute for the good concreting practices. Means you have to design the concrete properly, you have to mix the ingredients of the concrete properly, you have to transport and place the concrete properly, then only you will get the good concrete. In addition to that, if some property is to be improved or altered or changed, then only the admixtures are required. Admixtures should not affect some of the concrete properties adversely to improve some other properties of the concrete. So this also should be kept in mind that if we are going to improve one property and by adding admixture some other property is being deteriorated or affected, then also admixtures are of no use. And admixture should be employed only after an appropriate evaluation of its effects on the particular concrete under the conditions in which the concrete is intended to be used. Means it is not simply by recommendations of somebody or some guidelines we are going to use the admixtures. We have to properly evaluate the effect of admixtures on the concrete, in which conditions the concrete is being used. It is difficult to predict the effect and results of using a particular brand of admixture because sometimes the changes in brand of cement, aggregate, grading and mix proportions and richness of mix alter the properties of concrete. So the effect of particular brand of admixture will depend upon the cement being used, aggregate being used, grading of aggregate, the mix proportions of the concrete and the richness of the mix. Sometimes many admixtures affect more than one property of concrete, and sometimes they affect the desirable property adversely also. So this has to be kept in mind, that what effect admixtures are going to show on the concrete. Hence it is necessary to conduct tests on the representative sample of materials for a particular job under simulated job conditions in order to obtain reliable information on the properties of concrete containing admixtures. So that way tests are needed. So we should test the effect of admixtures on concrete before finally using it. So for that purpose we take a representative sample of the materials, and then by adding it we see the effect of admixture on the properties of concrete. Now let us discuss the role of admixtures. What admixtures do in concrete. So some of the important properties of fresh and hardened concrete which can be altered by use of admixtures are: number one, workability. Why we use admixtures? To improve workability. Then second is heat of hydration. We use admixtures to reduce the heat of hydration or the heat of evolution, the heat that is evolved in the hydration process. Next is strength. We use admixtures to increase the strength of the concrete. Next is setting time. We use admixtures to accelerate the initial setting of concrete, that is to speed up the rate of development of strength at early ages. Then in some conditions we do opposite also by using admixtures, means we retard the initial setting time of the concrete, because we want to use the concrete in such conditions that within certain time it is not possible to place and compact the concrete within the particular time. So in such situations we retard the initial setting time by using the admixtures. Next is durability. We use admixtures to increase durability of concrete, which includes improvement of resistance to special conditions of exposure to the environment. Also, we want to control the alkali aggregate reaction by adding admixtures. As far as the impermeability of the concrete is concerned, we add admixtures to increase the impermeability of the concrete. We also use admixtures to increase bond between old and the new concrete surfaces. So these are the functions or the role of admixtures in concrete. Also, in addition to these roles, there are some other roles also. As far as the corrosion is concerned, we want to reduce or inhibit the corrosion in the concrete. We also use admixtures to entrain air in concrete and thus decreasing the unit weight of concrete, because entrained air concrete will have the lesser unit weight. Also, we use the admixtures to produce hard and non-skid surfaces. We want the surface hard and non-skid. To produce concrete of fungicidal, germicidal and insecticidal properties. For this purpose also we use the admixtures in concrete. Next we see the classification of admixtures, how admixtures are classified. So admixtures are categorized into different categories. depending upon their action. Number 1, accelerating admixtures. Number 2, retarding and water reducing admixtures. Number 3, grouting admixtures. Number 4, air entraining admixtures. Number 5, air detraining admixtures. Number 6, gas forming admixtures. Number 7, expansion producing admixtures. Number 8, water proofing and permeability reducing admixtures. Number 9, corrosion inhibiting admixtures. Number 10, fungicidal, germicidal and insecticidal admixtures. Then number 11, bonding admixtures. Then 12, pozzolanic admixtures. And finally, coloring admixtures or the pigments. So that way we have categorized or classified the admixtures into 13 different categories depending upon their function. In addition to these 13, there are 2 more: concrete hardening admixtures and super plasticizers. So that way we have 15 categories of the admixtures. So let us discuss these one by one. First of all, we will discuss accelerators. Accelerating admixtures are added to concrete to increase the rate of early strength development in concrete, that is to increase the rate of hydration of cement or to shorten the setting time. Because if we increase the rate of hydration, then setting time will reduce. An increase in rate of early strength development may help in many ways, like earlier removal of formwork, hence allowing more repeated use of formwork, resulting in increase in output in prefabrication industry. Because in prefabrication industry, we can use the formwork released from one work to the other work. Another way is reduction in required period of curing. Because if we get the early strength, then we can reduce the curing period. Advance the time a structure can be placed in service. If we get the early strength of the concrete, then the structure can be placed in service at early stage. Then also it can partially compensate for the retarding effect of low temperature during cold weather concreting. In cold weather concreting, due to low temperature, what happens that retarding effect is there, means setting slows down. So here, by using these admixtures, we can compensate this retarding effect in cold weather concrete. Then by using this, we get an advantage also that we can do the emergency repair works quickly. Most common material used as an admixture to accelerate the early strength development of concrete is calcium chloride, CaCl2. Some of the soluble carbonates, fluorosilicates and organic compounds such as triethylamine also used, which are capable of reducing the period during which concrete remains plastic to less than 10 minutes. Means these admixtures can reduce the period in which the concrete remains plastic to less than 10 minutes. Means in less than 10 minutes, concrete will start hardening. Some accelerators are produced under the trade name of Quicksat, which when added to the cement produces setting in few seconds. So this is an effect of some of the accelerators which are called Quicksat. So the setting happens very quickly. These are quite frequently used for making cement plugs to stop pressure leaks. Where these Quicksats are used, where there is a possibility of the pressure leaks. So to stop that pressure leaks, we use such type of admixtures for making cement plugs. There are many brands of accelerators now available in Indian market that we will discuss later. Calcium chloride is cheapest and are very commonly used. The effectiveness of calcium chloride in promoting early strength is dependent on many factors, such as the amount of calcium chloride, type of cement, richness of mix, temperature of concrete, and curing conditions. With 2% calcium chloride, the increase in compressive strength has been observed to be 7 Newton per mm square at 1 day when used with rapid hardening cement. With ordinary Portland cement, this increase would be achieved only after 5 to 7 days. So here you see that in case of rapid hardening cement, that strength is obtained in 1 day, whereas if you are using OPC, then the same strength will be achieved after 5 to 7 days. By the age of 28 days, there is no difference between the strengths of rapid hardening cement with and without calcium chloride. But in case of ordinary Portland cement, the addition of calcium chloride would still show an improved strength. So this is the difference of type of cement used. Calcium chloride is generally more effective in increasing early strength of rich mixes with low water cement ratio than of lean mixes. The quantity of calcium chloride added to the mix must be carefully controlled. Addition of 1% of calcium chloride affects the rate of hardening as much as a rise in temperature of 6 degrees centigrade. Means rate of hardening, we are comparing here the addition of calcium chloride and the temperature effect. So the same rate of hydration will be done by 1% of calcium chloride, which is done by increase in temperature of 6 degrees centigrade. A calcium chloride content of 1 or 2% is generally sufficient. It should not be exceeded unless a test with the cement to be actually used in construction is done. So only in conditions that if we have done some testing and there is no adverse effect, then only we can go beyond the 2% of limit of the content of calcium chloride. At low temperature, higher doses of calcium chloride can be used. An excess of calcium chloride can cause flash set. Calcium chloride in amounts 0.1%, 0.3%, 0.5% and 1% has accelerated the set by 15 minutes, 25 minutes, 45 minutes and 85 minutes respectively. So this is the effect of percentage of calcium chloride on the setting of concrete. Addition of 3% of calcium chloride reduced the time of set from about 10 hours to 1 hour at 3 degrees centigrade and from 3.5 hours means 3.5 hours to 45 minutes at 20 degrees centigrade. So this is the effect of the amount of calcium chloride on the setting of concrete. Calcium chloride within permissible limit does not cause any corrosion to embedded reinforcement. Now let us see what precautions we should take while using the calcium chloride. It should not be used in pre-stressed concrete because of possible stress corrosion of pre-stressed steel. It also should not be used where stray electric currents are expected. Also, calcium chloride can be used with both ordinary Portland cement as well as rapid hardening cement, but it is more effective with rapid hardening cement. Calcium chloride, however, must not be used with aluminous cement. Calcium chloride generally increases volume changes in concrete and hence more shrinkage is introduced. It also increases the alkali aggregate reaction and reduces the resistance of concrete to sulfate attack. So while using calcium chloride as admixture in concrete, we should keep in mind, we should follow these precautions. Now let us move to the retarders. What is the effect of retarders? Retarders delay the setting of cement paste. they slow down the chemical process of hydration, leaving more water for workability and allowing concrete to be finished and protected before drying out. Retarders are useful in concreting in hot weather when the normal setting is shortened by high temperatures. Because due to high temperature, the normal setting time is shortened. So here retarders increase the setting time. The retarders are used when large number of layers are to be cast without formation of cold joints. Because when you are laying fresh concrete on the old concrete, there is a problem of the bonding. So here these retarders can be used when we are using or we are making large number of layers in concreting process. The delay in hardening caused by retarders can be used to obtain an architectural finish of exposed aggregates. Because now the setting will be delayed, setting will take place some time. So here you can give architectural finish to the concrete. You have enough time to do that. In case of sealing oil wells, the cement grouts have to remain very workable for more than 3 to 4 hours, even at high temperature of about 200 centigrade and above. So that way, this admixture help us in keeping the concrete workable for longer time. Sometimes concrete may have to be placed in difficult situations and delay may occur in transporting and placing of the concrete. So this takes care of these retarders take care of that additional time required for that transporting and the placing of the concrete. In ready mix concrete, the concrete is manufactured in a centralized batching plant and they conveyed to work site by the dumper. So during that transportation process, transit time, that concrete should be in workable state and these retarders ensure this situation. If work site and delivery site is at a large distance, considerable time will be taken to transport the concrete. So retarders takes care of this. In these cases, the setting of concrete is to be delayed such that the delivery and concrete is fresh, plastic and sufficiently workable. So what are the materials that are used as retarders? The following materials can be used as retarders: lignosulfonic acids and their salts. Another is modifications and derivatives of lignosulfonic acids and their salts. Another material is hydroxylated carboxylic acids and their salts. Also, we use modifications and derivatives of hydroxylated carboxylic acids and their salts. So these are the materials which can be used as retarders. Some of these materials act as water reducing admixtures also. Means they can reduce the water required for making the concrete. Presently, admixtures are manufactured to combine sat retarding and water reducing properties. So these admixtures do the two things basically, or dual action, means they retard the setting as well as they are reducing the water requirement. They are usually mixtures of conventional water reducing agents plus sugars or hydroxylated carboxylic acids or their salts. The most commonly known retarder is calcium sulfate. This is the most commonly retarded. The appropriate amount of gypsum, that is calcium sulfate, to be used must be determined carefully for the given job. Use of gypsum for the purpose of retarding setting time is only recommended when adequate inspection and control is available. Common sugar is one of the most effective retarding agent. Addition of excessive amount will cause indefinite delay in setting. So we have to be cautious when we are using it. At normal temperatures, addition of sugar 0.05 to 0.1% have little effect on the rate of hydration. But if the quantity is increased to 0.2%, hydration can be retarded to such an extent that final set may not take place for 72 hours or more. Means setting will not take place even after 3 days. Now let us see grouting admixtures. Grout admixture for its varied application necessitates in developing certain properties. Most important of them is that the grout mix should be at least shrinkage compensating, and in some cases even more expensive than shrinkage compensating. In some cases, grout admixture may have to set quickly, and in some cases it should remain plastic for longer duration so that it can flow into cracks and cavities where it is supposed to fill up. Grouting admixtures should have combination of some of the following properties. What are these properties? Accelerating property, retarding property, gas forming property, workability, and expanding property. So these are the properties which the grouting admixture should have, either one or the combination of these properties. Accelerating property can be developed by using one of the accelerating agent like calcium chloride. Retarding and dispersing agents may be used to make the grout more flowable and pumpable. Expansive property can be attributed by adding expansive agents like gypsum. There should also be a suitable thixotropic substance which prevents segregation and provides a high bond to the contact surface without voids in the grouted mass. Gas forming admixtures will be used while grouting is completely done in confined areas such as under machine foundation. Aluminum powder is the most commonly used agent which chemically reacts and form small bubbles of hydrogen and produces expansion of the grout. This expansion eliminates settlement and shrinkage of the concrete. Workability agents such as fly ash, bentonite clay, pozzolanic materials may be used to improve workability without increasing water and thus not thinning the grout. So that way we can increase the workability. So this way we have discussed different type of admixtures in which we discuss the accelerating admixtures, retarding admixtures, and then we discuss the grouting admixtures. Other class of admixtures we will discuss in the next lecture. Thank you for watching.